Welcome back to Dice at Dusk. Tonight we're going to be going over another game by Wyvern Gaming called Cthulhu, a deck building game. But we'll be going over the expansion to this game that's coming to Kickstarter late June, early July of this year, a Dunwich Horror. So what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to kind of go over the whole gameplay, which will help you with the base game, but then I'll start going into just the extra stuff that's going to be in that Dunwich Horror expansion that will be coming to Kickstarter soon. So the base game, it's a deck building game, and it's a pretty standard deck building game with a few little tweaks here and there, but you're doing all the same things that you usually do in a deck building game. Now, it's Cthulhu, so I know what everybody's thinking. A deck building game, Cthulhu themed, or Cthulhu mythos themed. They're automatically going straight to Arkham Horror, and that's what you're thinking about. And it does have similarities as far as the theme, but the game is very different and a different feel when you play it. So instead of like in a game in Arkham Horror, you're going to be exploring all these different locations and you're trying to kind of push forward, and a story is going to evolve. This really has no story. So you're going to be fighting an elder god, and that elder god is going to be really summoning these demons, and the mythos cards are going to be casting spells and just making your life really a living hell. They're just going to keep coming at you. So in this game, there's really just two phases. There's the planning phase and the combat phase. In that planning phase, you're going to be purchasing cards from the library to put in your hand. You're not going to be putting them into your discard pile like you do in some deck builders, but they go directly into your hand. And the way that you purchase these cards is from Moxie. Every card that's in your hand, except for some of the starting cards, which I'll tell you what they are pretty soon, but except for those three of the starting cards, most of these cards will give you either something to help the amount of Moxie you have, or will just give you Moxie. Now that will help. You can use the Moxie to purchase cards. You're using them to fight and try to bring down that Elder God down to 0, which is how you win the game. And you're using that to heal. You're using that to bring up your sanity and your health. And this is that would be how you lose. You lose your sanity, you lose your health, you lose the game. And there is something pretty neat about this game that I will get to a little later about when you die. But that's how you're purchasing the cards and you're fighting, is this Moxie. So in that initial planning phase, you're going to be buying the cards and you're going to be laying cards down that you plan on using during the next phase, in the combat phase, that will help you fight. The thing is, when you buy a card, and like I said, they go into your hand, they don't go into your discard pile, you can't use them to buy more cards. It doesn't really work like that. What you can do, though, is you can use them later on for that combat phase. So it's pretty neat that the cards that you're buying now, you're not really waiting to see later, but you're going to be able to use them the same turn that you buy them. But that's really the planning phase. That's all it really is. Then you come into the combat phase, which is where really all the fun and excitement in this game happens. So there's different steps in this, in the turn order that people that we attack as investigators, and that the Elder Gods attacks and all of the minions, they will attack. So the first one is the Elder God. Now the Elder Gods will all have different abilities, and that ability that's on the card is what you will do on the first part of that combat phase. The second one is the Mythos. Now the Mythos deck is going to tell you certain things. So you'll flip over a Mythos card at this point, and it will say spawn this many of this kind of monster, and then you'll look through the deck of minions and you'll find that kind of monster. And they use a symbol. It's like a little green symbol, and then sometimes they'll say like spawn this little symbol -3 minions, or this type of minion. And what that means, the symbol is the player count. So that green symbol, whenever you see that little green symbol, it's the player count. And then the -3 would be, say you had 4 players, -3 would be one minion of that type that you would be spawning. Now, if there's like you're playing this game solo, you can you'll see that, and if it says -3, then you'll be, you can't have less than 1. So that you're always going to be spawning at least 1 minion during this phase, or whatever else, spells that might be coming out of you, whatever this Mythos deck just throws at you. The next one that goes at you are the minions. So the minions that are in play, the minions that just played, that were just spawned from the Mythos deck, these are all going to attack you. And it gets really difficult. And some of these minions will start spawning other minions, and it can get out of control very, very, very quickly. And you're just trying to minimize that, and trying to not have so many of these cards out there, these minions just destroying you and your team. The final one are the investigators, or us. We are now going to use those cards that we had in our hand to try and kill this elder god. Now, this is where you really need cooperation between you, and if it's just you, as a solo game, this can be very difficult because you're trying to fight off these minions and get rid of them, because they're just going to keep hitting you every turn. But your ultimate goal is to kill this elder god, and the elder god is extremely powerful and has a large amount of hit points, 40, 50, 60. There's just a lot of hit points that you have to do, and but you also have to kind of hold back these minions and keep chipping away at these minions, or it's just gonna spiral out of control very quickly. So that is what you're doing. You're using these cards. You have like equipment cards that you'll put out, location cards which can give you a little bonus, and just spells and stuff like that to try to fight and heal you. Some cards will heal you. You're going to start with 7 sleuth cards, and then you're going to start with 3 stagger cards. Now the sleuth cards just give you 1 moxie, and they help you out, and it's just kind of a slow start. The stagger cards are bad. They hurt you. You're going to do something and lose health or something like that. And if you were to play them, that's what would happen, but you don't have to play them. However, there are cards, or there are monsters, and there's minions and elder gods that will make you play these cards in your hand. But let's get into the second part of that, which is what is actually coming out on Kickstarter. This is a Dunwich Horror expansion, and the things that it adds to the base game. So this game, or what adds to it, is a standalone. You don't need the base game to play. But I say that I would almost say you kind of want it, especially because I think they are going to revamp and make the original game look better, because when I had them side by side when I first got them, they were, one you could just tell was a lot poorer quality than the newer one in the Dunwich Horror expansion. But it gives you so much more things. So you have your investigator cards, and they're going to have your special abilities and the thing I was going to say, after death. So when your character dies, you still have an after death ability, so you're never out of the game. You're always part of the group and always fighting, and that is pretty good to keep people. I hate player elimination games. I hate when people can't participate after they die, and this is a good way for them to keep into the game. But as far as the expansion and what it brings so many more of these characters. I believe there's like 33. It's 30 plus characters that you can play. So just the replayability from that is great. So the amount of players and the different abilities and strategies that you would come up with, that is what all these characters kind of do. And the other things it adds is you'll have a mythos location now. Now the location, like I said before, there are location cards in the deck which will give you that ability, and you'll use it and it'll go away. But the mythos location is something that's in effect at all times. So when you start going through the rounds in the Dunwich Horror expansion, you're going to have this location that's also going to be doing things along with everything else. It's just attacking you. It's going to give them help, or usually it's going to give them help. It's not going to help you. But another thing it does, in the original game, you would have to discard everything, would just go away at the end. However, when you're playing these cards, now they have gear cards, and these gear cards are something that you can equip to your character, and it's going to be a long-lasting thing. And if something was to make you get rid of it, that's the only way it would go away. Once you put boots on or something like that, it stays with your character and it helps you the whole game. The other thing, and this does seem kind of Arkham Horror-ish, I guess, you have allies that they added to the game. So these allies are going to do the same thing. You're going to play them, and they're going to stay with you the whole game, and they're going to help you just like those boots and equipment cards that you got. That, you know, they're going to help you fight these monsters and minions. But that's the big things that the expansion brings, and I think it brings a lot. Like it helped the game a lot. The base game alone, and I guess we'll roll right into the review part of this. The base game alone is what I played first. I received the base game and the Dunwich Horror, and I thought to have a decent representation or understanding of how much better this Dunwich Horror game is, or expansion is, I had to kind of play the first one first and a couple times to get that feel. So that's what I did. And it was good. Like, the game was good. I love, full disclosure, I love Cthulhu theme and the Cthulhu mythos. I love it. H.P. Lovecraft, he's one of the best writers that I've ever read. He just makes great stuff. And I love the universe that he's just created with this. So there's a lot of games, and whenever I see a Cthulhu game or, you know, an Arkham game, I'm always looking at it. But so there might be some bias because of the theme, but the game was really good. You're not going from location to location to location like a game like Arkham Horror, but you're kind of stuck in one location, and this monster's ahead of you just throwing all this stuff at you, and you're trying to kill this monster, this elder god. You're just trying to kill him and kill him and kill him, and that's it. And it was good. With the Dunwich Horror expansion, it just added a little bit more that gave the game a little bit more, I guess, oomph is what I want to say. Just a little more to the game. And I really like that. I like that it added like these abilities or these equipment cards and gear cards that you can equip to your character, and these helpers to help you out. Because really, this game, if you want to play a game solo, this game is great. However, it is very hard. It almost gets easier as you get more people, but once you get to that like 6-player spot, they're just like spawning so many. So it's a very hard game at like solo levels. 2, 3, 4, you start feeling some of that just relief that you're not just the only one being attacked and you have people helping you. But yeah, as a solo game, the game is very, very, very hard. And there are cards in here that will actually spawn more elder gods, which makes it even harder. But yeah, the base game was great. I think they are going to, as far as what was told to me, is they might revamp that base game and also release it with the Kickstarter, so it's something that you could do. But it was good. And the reason why I would say that if you want a game like this, and honestly, this game right here it's phenomenal. I've played this way more. I have an unopened Arkham Horror box because this has just been, it's really consumed me, and this was it's a great deck builder. It's a smooth, easy to learn and easy to play deck builder, and it's fun, and the theme makes it that much better, at least for me. But if you were thinking about backing this game, or you want to back it and you don't have that base game, I would almost recommend I will recommend to do just dive in and get both of them, because there's so many more. Those characters I was talking about, they're going to give you that much more. The minions, there's more minions there's more minions, elder gods, everything that you're just going to be bringing together. And it just gives you so much more to this game. It gives you a ton of different things that you're going to see, different monsters and minions and elder gods. You're just going to see so much more. However, let's talk about a few things that I won't say I don't like, but kind of iffy. I guess it's a little iffy for me. The first is the locations. Like I said, in the new one, there's a Mythos location, but you also can play locations. And that was just, it doesn't really matter, and it didn't affect the gameplay. I mean, it's just kind of weird for me that you're in a location, but you're playing a location. That's just odd to me, I guess. The other thing would be player count. It does, because of that little green symbol I talked about, it does kind of scale well, but it is going to be hard solo. That's if you plan on getting this and playing strictly by yourself, it's going to be difficult. But that is Cthulhu, a deck building game, and the expansion. Like I said before, I really do enjoy this game. And I think I think that if you enjoy Arkham Horror and you like Arkham Horror, this is a game you definitely have to try out. It's you're not going to be disappointed playing this game. But they did say Kickstarter June 20th, but they kind of seemed hesitant, so he gave me a range, late June, early July. But if you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, we'll make sure we share that with you when it does launch. And while you're at it, check out diceatdust.com for our events, articles, reviews, and play more games.